All right, so I've got a few welcomes to make. One big welcome I have is who's on the security team? Give me a, yeah, let's welcome the security team to Creative Arts. This is their first meeting. Yeah, there you go. I don't know, you guys might feel weird like being a part of like all these musicians and singers and weirdo artists. And, I don't know.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Billy feels the same way. Oh, thank you. That sounds so much better. I mean, eventually it sounded better. But anyway, we're really glad that you're here on the team. I don't know, how much of what I say and what Ben say. I think a lot of it will apply to you. Some of it you won't use as much. But we're really glad that you're here. You keep our church safe. You keep Crossroads running smoothly behind the scenes. I don't think hardly anybody even knows what you do, but it's so incredibly important. And I'm just so glad that you're, on a team so that you've got representation on the staff. And we're just really glad to welcome the security team here. We also have a few people from our stage design team, and we've invited stage design. Who's on stage design? A few, yeah, welcome. So, Stage Design has been a team of Creative Arts, but for some reason they haven't been in Planning Center online, and so a lot of times they haven't ended up at these meetings. However, we put them in Planning Center, and now they're all part of the team here. And Deb and John over here lead that team. They do a really good job. And in fact, I just submitted it on Facebook. Our Stage Design was featured on one of the premier stage design websites, churchstagedesignIdeas.com. And we were featured on their Friday post, which was really awesome. They called the set, it's the set that we have up now, they called it Dark Passenger. So they gave it a creative name and put it online, so I don't know why. Someone told me, what's the reference? No, someone told me there was a reference to something, some CD shows. All right. So here are our teams, just so everyone knows: band, vocal, tech, stage design, marketing and communications, and security. So those are the teams that make up Creative Arts. And then we also have some guests today, and I won't make you raise your hand or stand up or anything, but welcome guests. We're so glad to have you here. There's some people checking out our different teams and checking out Creative Arts, and so glad you're here. And hope you have a great time with us. And I think you will, as long as I keep going. These guys over here, they're going to tell me if I go over 10 minutes, and they're going to drag me away. So I got to keep going. Sometimes it's hard to quantify. A lot of times I'll say, hey, thank you for your time and talent. And I really am grateful for all the time that you give to Crossroads to serve. You're really giving it to God. And sometimes it's hard to say exactly what that means, but I wrote down a few things that I thought would be important to share. One thing it means to give your time and talent, which you do. It means you're giving something back to God that He gave you. And God gave us all gifts. He gave us all abilities and the ability to do things. And when we serve at church, we're giving that back to God. And I think that's super important. So remember, when you're serving, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's like, well, I had some plans. Maybe I'm going to cancel or move some things around to serve at Crossroads. But you're giving God back something that He gave you. And I think He honors that. I think that's awesome. It also means that you're using your gifts to serve others. We may never know, and it's hard in church work, it's hard to know how your time and talent impact others. And we may never know until we get to heaven and hear all the stories. But there are people every week that are discouraged, that are hurting. There are people that don't know Jesus that are sitting in the auditorium. There are people that have maybe never been to church before or coming back after a long time. You just never know because they don't say these things. They're coming to get some inspiration. And what you do matters to them. What you do sets the stage for them. Literally, in some cases, spiritually in others, to hear from God, to have peace with God. And it's for that reason, I think it's worth your time and talent. Here's another thing. It means that you're a part of God's plan for Crossroads and His kingdom. Crossroads is a great church. I love serving at Crossroads. I'll be in my 5th year of ministry here, starting in August. It's a great ministry, and it's worth your time and talent to spend at Crossroads. Crossroads is really at a crossroads of a lot of communities. We serve Temperance and Ottawa Lake and Toledo and Sylvania and Dundee and Ypsilanti and all sorts of places. And so we are at a crossroads where people come and they can hear about God. It's important. And then finally, it means that you have a chance to bring positive change to others. So many times we want to change. When you come to church, you're opening yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to try something, I'm going to see what I can do in my life, and our effort to bring Sundays to people, to bring the Word of God to people, opens the door for that positive change. And so when you give your time and talent, that's what it means. So thank you so much for that. I want to go over our creative arts values. I've spoken about them so often over the last 4 years that I'm not going to go into detail, but can anyone give me any of our creative team core values? Because some won't have heard them here. Anybody? Timeliness is a good one, showing up on time. Yep. Preparedness, being prepared for our ministry. Sense of fun, someone said that. Yep, if you're not having fun with what you're doing, you're probably not in the right spot. Come on. Passion is a good one, it's not a core value. Excellence is a core value, we want to be good at what we do. And love is actually the first value. We have to have love for each other, and love for what we do, and having each other's back. That's what that means. Not throwing each other under the bus, but having love for each other. So those are our creative arts core values, and everything we do is surrounded by those values and informed by those values. All right, I have 2 more things. How am I doing on time?
You're at 6:52.
Okay, 4 minutes and 2 more things to go. Good. Some things have changed in the church world, and as a creative team, often on staff we talk about them, but we don't talk about them as much in our creative teams. But I think you should be informed about a few changes that are happening in the church in the United States, and things that we're responding to as a result at Crossroads. One is that the seeker service model has faded in American culture, and Crossroads was a very big seeker church at one time. And that was very effective, that model, at getting unchurched people to come to church, and it worked well for a long time. Over the last 10 years, we've seen that it has worked less and less well. And there are opportunities there with that model fading, and what we have tried to do at Crossroads is, instead of pursuing the seeker model, we brought more praise and worship into our service. And we have discovered, as many churches have, that unchurched people now, when they come to church, they are not as skittish or embarrassed or reluctant as they used to be. But instead, if they come to church at all, they are coming, they want a spiritual experience. They want to meet God in some way. They might have not figured that all out. And so we're still very welcoming. We still want to be relevant and meet people where they are, but we are pushing a deeper spiritual experience in our Sunday morning services because we feel like not only is that's what unchurched people want, but it also is like fun for Christians too, to have that in-depth time of worship. And so it's kind of a win-win, and I don't know if you've noticed, but we have been transitioning into that model with more praise and worship. In that, though, we are trying to be more creative in the elements we have. And so instead of elements that are standalone elements, like drama was a big standalone element in the seeker model. We don't do drama much anymore. We still do some videos, but we try to be creative within the worship time. We try to be creative within the MC spot. We try to be creative within the message. And so you'll see, hopefully, more of that as we're learning what that means, to keep those elements interesting and fresh in some way. And so, for example, we have a lot of people leading, and Ben's really good at that, having other people lead worship as we go from song to song. And we're just finding that keeps things fresh and interesting and different. And so anyway, I don't know if that is, I just wanted to make sure you understood what we're talking about on staff and how that has changed some of what we're doing. But the mission is the same. We want to reach people for Jesus. We want to see lives changed. We want to see hearts restored. And that part, the gospel, and that mission, that part never changes. It never does. And so you can rest assured that Crossroads is still totally into finding lost people and bringing them into a relationship with Jesus. That will never change. All right, one more thing. We did this maybe 3 years ago now, maybe even 4 years. I have a survey. It's anonymous. I'd like you to be honest. Ben has a little part when he talks, and you can fill that part. The rest of it you can just fill out whenever and just leave it on your table. Just want to hear from you. This is a good chance to, I don't know if there's something that you're too weirded out to say to Ben or myself or Kelly or any of the other leaders here, but you really think we should know. Now's your chance. And we just want to hear from you. It's a good way to take a temperature of the whole team. And since we have stage design, security in here now, I thought it's a good time to get just a little temperature of the team and what you're thinking. So I'm going to ask my good friend Steve to start passing those around. And you guys can fill that out. How am I doing?
10 minutes, 40 seconds.
Okay, we're 40 seconds over. I'm sorry, but I'm done. That's it.
All right.
I love you guys. I love what you do. Thank you so much. Keep doing it. We're just going to have some fun. And I'm going to introduce my partner in crime, my friend, the guy that always looks and dresses better than me somehow. Not somehow. He does it on purpose. Ben DeLong, everybody.
Thank you. Well done. Okay, so I get the opportunity to share with you my love for you as well. I really love working with, if it's a stage, if it's having to check in with security, hey, I forgot my key, can you let me in? Who are you? I work here. Hey, you know. No, your security is awesome. The band, the vocals, I really love working with you. This is, I get to do a hobby for a living. I get to be a musician, but I also get to be a pastor. And if, hopefully, if you've gotten to know me, I like to have a pastor's heart. So visiting in the hospital or helping with funerals or things that when you're going through hard times, I'd like to be there for you. If you're playing out as a musician, I'd love to come watch you. So that's kind of things that I like to do, and hopefully it can help foster within our teams. So I hope that you know that I value that in the emails and the sharing of vision, that I appreciate you and I love spending time with you. Especially Robert. Who doesn't get a hug from Robert when he walks by? I mean,
Hug myself even.
that's a sense of fun. Okay, so I have three
All
things.
about Robert.
It's all about
It's Robert!
sense of fun is here, Nikki, that's for sure. That's for sure. I have three things to talk about: communication, buy-in, and Planning Center online. Communication, there are several ways that we communicate. One is through Planning Center Online. You will get that as a desktop, but I really want to recommend that you get the app. The app has services that notifications come and they say accepted client right there from your app. There's also I'll talk to you privately about that for the musicians. Planning Center, enable those notifications, because if you get a notification of maybe, like for instance, July 29th had to change, and Steve got a notification about that, and he asked me about it. That's opening up a conversation or of communication. I have yet to get back with him about that, because a lot of things shift, especially by the end of July. End of July is 7 weeks from now, 7 Sundays or so. A lot of things happen, either last minute or for future weeks. So please check out PCO both on your email, through your desktop, and please Planning Center Online services through your app store. I do recommend, if you can, enable texts. I enable text on mine, and it just helps. One more way: email, Planning Center app, and then the text. Just make sure that we have good communication open. We also have a Facebook page called Crossroads Creative. If you are not in it, get in touch with me. I might even need a piece of paper where you can write your name and add you to that Facebook page. What we do is we share good things and bad things. Hey, this is what the stage looks like. Hey, this person needs prayer. Hey, I'm trying to sell my baby stroller. No, we don't do those. So the Facebook page is another one I'd like you to be aware of. All right, so that's the communication. We love to communicate. The more communication, the better, because things might be hard, even if it's a hard communication. We'd rather have it on the onset than have to fix things and fix broken relationships or broken situations. So earlier the better, and Jim and I both love that open communication. All right, I want to talk to you about John chapter 10. And this is a buy-in picture. And I took a picture of it, so I'm going to pull this up. John chapter 10. right before this, Jesus says, I have come that you may have life and have it to the fullest. And that's kind of what we will try to emulate here at Crossroads as well. That this isn't like necessarily a liturgy that you hate going, oh man, I have to go to Crossroads. Oh man, I'm on this week. We want to have experience life and have it to the fullest because Jesus lives inside of us and has given us his life. And his life is strong enough that conquers the grave. So, I mean, come on, it can't be boring, right? Celebrate with life. But then later on, Jesus says, verse 11, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd sacrifices his life for the sheep. Number 12, verse 12, a hired hand will run when he sees a wolf coming. He will abandon the sheep because they don't belong to him and he isn't their shepherd. So the wolf attacks them and scatters the flock. The hired hand runs away because he's working only for the money and doesn't really care about the sheep. 14 says, Jesus, I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep and they know me, just as my Father knows me and I know the Father. So I sacrifice my life for the sheep. Now that's very deep. There's a lot to unpack from that. But I want to take a surface buy-in from that. So there are several people that we do hire to fill in spots or to get into the church just so they can hear the message, and so basically our mission fields comes and sits in our green room or in our creative arts wing, and we get to talk to them no matter where they are in life. And some of them are Christians and some of them are not. And the thing is, if Crossroads stops existing, they probably will find another church or another gig to play or another weekend to wake up and be here by 7:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. Whew. Anyway, so their buy-in is probably a level 1. Yeah, I'll go if you want me to, or I can go this way. That's a level 1. The second one is, I'm going to think ahead. I'd love to be there, but only if my schedule permits. So level 2 would be like more than hired, the concept of hired, not finances, but the concept of being hired of, hey, I really need you to sing, Stephanie. And you'd be like, yeah, not personally. I had this Comic-Con thing I was going to go to. That's why but if it works out, maybe then I'll accept. So that's like a level 2. It's in my mind. I want to do it, but my schedule may or may not reflect that. And then there's a level 3 buy-in, and that's kind of what I'm taking from this is some of y'all's buy-ins is level 3, and what that looks like would be, hey, I know our motto is to do once a month. And I'm happy to do that. But man, I see an empty spot. I'd love to do it that second spot. Or some even in this room have said, can you schedule me 3 times? Because I see the empty spot, I see the need, and that's my level of buy-in. For instance, I know I'm going to go up to the lake next month, but I'll make sure that when you need me, maybe I'll just go up the other week. Thinking ahead in that level of buy-in. So I guess what I'm asking you to do, and this is on your cards that are passed out, just kind of evaluate where you are. It's not negative to be at a level 1 because those people are important. They fill spots on the ready. Level 2 is where a lot of you are already. You're planning, but given the chance between that and something else, you might go to something else. And then of course the level 3 would be I'm all in and rearranging schedule. So if you can think of what you're going to be like in about 3 months, maybe 6 months, and that means like fall, school starting, and Christmas in 2019, just mark down what you think you are currently at and what you'd like to be at. Remember, you're not signing your names. I'm just trying to get a temperature of the whole room. So that was the first one was communication. The second one was buy-in, and thirdly, Planning Center online. That is how we. That's how we live here at Crossroads as far as scheduling. If you're not getting notifications or emails, we need to get you on that. If you can go in to Planning Center online, either on the desktop or on your phone services app, can you make sure your name and your email is already on there? And if it's not, talk to me directly. Once you're in, you can add a photo, you can add your birth date, your anniversary date. At some point, I'd like to help celebrate those kind of things with you because that's what, we're a larger, small group, and I'd like to continue to foster that. And if you are a musician, vocalist, or band, there are 3 apps I want you to consider. The PCO services we already talked about. PCO Music Stand, where you can follow the charts, and PCO, the Prime Multitrack. Now, Multitrack is a separate, anyone ever play the game Simon? It has like the 4 colors in the circle, and it goes beep, beep, and you go beep, beep, and it goes beep, 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 and you go beep, 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 and you follow that Simon game. Prime, Loop Lewis Prime has an app that looks just like that. And those are the very same clicks that we use on Sunday mornings. It has the exact arrangements. It has different little sliders. If you wanted to hear what your part sounds like, you can solo that. And you can sign into that by using Crossroads' user ID and password. So, if you would like to take note and download the Prime app, Multitrack Prime app. It's called the Multitrack Prime app. Sign in using capital C for Crossroads 23, and the password is lowercase Crossroads. This will all go out in an email, but if you want to download Prime's Multitrack app, user ID Crossroads 23, capital C. Password is lowercase Crossroads. Then you can hear the exact same click, the cues, the clicks, the instrumentation, your part, somebody else's part. You are welcome to do that. You don't have to wait till Wednesday or Sunday to find out what that is. Okay, so how do I do on time?
24:36.
So
14 minutes. That's
close.
not bad.
Yeah, pretty good.